Hi, it's Laurie here from the Alcohol Ink Art Community and Society. In this presentation, I'm going to be demoing some of Tim Holtz alcohol ink cardstock that was recently released. There are 3 new cardstock substrates that have hit the market: brushed silver, silver sparkle, and matte black. The first one I'm going to demo is the brushed silver. Okay, this is the brushed silver substrate, and it's got a nice satiny but metallic finish on it. I don't believe that the alcohol pearls, they may do okay on it, but I think that the two metallic sheens would cancel one another out. So I'm actually, for this demo, I'm going to use regular alcohol inks to demonstrate how it works. Now this is a cardstock that's coated. So the other side is just regular cardstock. It's a porous on the back side. But this side is made for alcohol inks, and therefore we're going to see what we get. I'm going to start out with some stream, and I'm going to put it on my application tool from Ranger. I'm actually going to mix that with a little bit of terracotta and see how that does on this metallic finish. And I'm just going to tap it around. Very pretty, and it takes the alcohol ink pretty good. I'm going to actually just try pouring some alcohol ink on and using my pipette with a little bit of 91% alcohol in it to see how it moves on there. That is just gorgeous. Look at that. See how it works just like Yupo. The ink flows really nicely on it. I love it. And because it's metallic, you're going to get some really neat effects from that. And I'm just going to keep rocking it back and forth, as we often do when we're creating backgrounds with alcohol inks on Yupo. I'm just going to use my brush and move the ink around a little bit. So I have a decent amount of alcohol on there. And so we have to wait for that to evaporate. It's not soaking in, which is good. I take a piece of paper towel off to the side here so I can tap my brush on it. Just something I am in the habit of doing. And so this area that we've dabbed, I'm actually going to put some on there too and reactivate that. Look how beautiful that is. I love it. I guess my next question would be when is it available in larger pieces? Oh, that is just gorgeous. The way that background comes through too, I love this for landscapes, and I'm sure that when we'll look at this when it dries, but I'm sure that it will lift just fine as well. Beautiful. I do like this terracotta and stream on there. That's just gorgeous. I'm going to add a little bit more because I'm having fun. I'm playing. See what happens. Oh, beautiful. When I get pulled up on the edge, I always just tap off onto my paper towel. I have a whole collection of paper towels to use in some of my mixed media projects. But this is just gorgeous. I didn't expect to like it so much, but I do. Yay! New substrates. Thank you, Ranger. It seems to be drying a little slower on this substrate too, which is kind of interesting. And it's drying a little bit differently. So the next thing I'm gonna look at is how it lifts. I got a little bit of a botanical here. I'm gonna add that to the bottom on top of this gunmetal to see what happens. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. Again, I'm gonna rock it back and forth. It's almost like the substrate itself gives the alcohol ink a metallic feel to it. Because you know the alcohol inks are translucent, right? And so sitting on top of this gunmetal, it's just gorgeous. Guys, it is gorgeous. I can't even tell you. I did not expect to be so crazy about this. And I'm so pleasantly surprised. Boy, that botanical is really popping on this metallic background. That is so cool. Again, didn't expect to have so much fun with this. And I'm just going to let that sit here for a second and dry. And while it is drying and setting up a little bit, because I want to test the lifting and see how well it lifts. So I'm just going to let that dry and set it off to the side. And the next one I'm going to try is Silver Sparkle. And it gets its name because, hey, it's just sparkling. So I'm gonna try the similar colors on it. I don't know if we'll get the same effect, but I'm gonna see what happens. Let's just go with our terracotta again. I'm just gonna use the same applicator. Put some more a few more drops of terracotta, a few more drops of stream, and then I'm just gonna pounce that on here. Oh, oh. Boy, if you like making cards with alcohol ink, and these substrates are just wonderful. This sparkle, I mean, these guys, this is just sparkly, and then the translucent ink on top of it. Again, just wasn't expecting that, and it's just lovely. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to use my pipette and move around some of this ink. Just drop a generous amount onto the sparklies. See if there's any effect at all on the substrate. And I'm just going to let it run. Just because I like watching the inks and what they do. Okay, so those of you that are into making cards, this is a game changer, I think. This metallic-y background with translucent inks over the top, giving them the color. As you tilt them in light, it just gives you almost a holographic look. It's so beautiful. Again, didn't expect to be so excited by this, but it's just really cool. I'm going to see how this botanical looks on it. I'm just going to take my brush and just move it around, paint with it. What a beautiful shimmer. Ranger's done gone and gotten all shiny on us. As if we didn't love our inks enough. Now look. I like to manipulate the inks and the way they flow and what they create with the different angles that I use. So like I'll have it going at like a 45-degree angle, not completely tilted. And this gives me, and as the ink is drying, I'm getting ridges and interest, and you can do some really cool wet on wet stuff here. It doesn't seem to dry as quickly as regular Yupo, and I see that as kind of an advantage because it gives you more time to manipulate the inks and get more wet on wet technique. So like I can make, this looks like a hillside I'm making, and I got my tree lines going up here. Look how much fun, and it's still wet. I get to work with it for a little bit longer. Didn't expect that. Very cool. So I'm just going to set this one aside. This was the, again, this is the Silver Sparkle. And let's look back at our brushed silver, which is very neat, but a totally different, sort of effect. And I just wanted to see what we get if we want to lift. Oh, it lifts wonderful. So you can lift really well with this too. And this is just a very quick lift, but let's draw a quick little tree here. Look at that lift. It seems to be staining just a little bit, but that's okay. I mean, UPO stains, everything we work on pretty much stains, so lifting to white is not something we would expect, really. But I do like the way that you can reactivate the ink on here and still get a great effect. Neat. I'll totally be sitting and playing with this. I'll be doing this all night. Very fun. Drop a little bit of this botanical here on to get myself some trees and foliage in here and see how it activates on top of existing background. Neat. That is just so cool. You guys are gonna love this. Look at this tree I'm making. It's just beautiful. If you haven't got one of these little applicator tools, they are so neat because when you put the alcohol on them and you pounce, it's my favorite way of creating foliage. And it just looks so natural and organic. But let me look. I twist it and turn it and reapply ink, and I just keep going. I get carried away, and it's just so satisfying to watch. Awesome. Anyway, that's cool, right? All right, so I'm still waiting for the silver sparkle piece to dry. It's taking longer. Here it is here. So I can still get the that botanical flowing on there, and I hardly even put any 91% alcohol there. So the good news with that is that, you know, the time that you have to manipulate is a lot longer, and I could just think of a lot of good uses of that. I wouldn't mind having like a pearl sheet like this as well. Maybe that can be something Ranger could create for us in the future, because think about it, if we had like a pearl background, it would be like UPO, but it would act like this. And I don't know, maybe it's out there and I don't know it, but that's a really, really great thing to have. It'll be interesting to see how well this lifts. Go ahead and try it. This area is sort of dry. So I dip my brush into the alcohol, and then I can try just lifting the brush. Oh, it's pretty good, but I'm still a little wet. The other option I do have here is my blender pen, and we can see how well that'll lift. Not sure how well we're going to lift here. I'll come back to that when it's fully dry and see if I get a little bit better result with lifting, but this is so beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to back up some of this stuff a little bit, put some caps back onto my inks, because the next thing I want to try is the third new substrate from Ranger, which is the the third new substrate that I'm going to show you from Ranger, which is the black matte. And just going to back this all up out of the way a little bit, put down a fresh paper towel just to cover up my space and get a nice free. By the way, I save all of these because I use them in mixed media projects. You can check out some of our mixed media projects that are going to be coming up soon on our sister group, Mixed Media Mad, so Google that. All right, so the next substrate that we have that we're going to try here from Ranger is this, and it looks like you can do either side. It's matte. It's a black matte, and I have no idea how this is going to work, but we shall see. Okay, so in order for us to demonstrate the black substrate, as you know, alcohol inks are translucent, And if you try to work directly on the black, you're not going to see a thing. I'm going to demonstrate that right here on the back. I want to take actually some of this flamingo, and I am going to drop a drop on here. Look at that. Do you see anything? Not really. What's the point, right? So that does not work. I'm just going to dab that off on the back. So what we have to do is we have to create a background using Snowcap. So I'm using Ranger Snowcap. Snowcap comes in packages. You can either buy the bottles individually online at rangerinc.com. I think you may be able to get them on Amazon. But you definitely want to use the Snowcap, and you need to shake, shake, shake the Snowcap a lot until you hear, just like with the pearls, until you hear a little metal rattle inside. Okay, you guys hear that? So we got the metal rattle inside, and we're shaking it. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to actually use, in this presentation, I'm going to use air duster, and I'm going to make just a pretty little blown flower here. So I am going to drop the white Snowcap down, and then I'm going to take it, and you've seen probably 100 videos on this being done. It's beautiful. It's a technique that never gets old. Just look at the Snowcap on the black substrate itself. Isn't that gorgeous? And all I want to do for this demonstration is just create a quick little bloom. Beautiful. And I'm just using canned air. I don't usually use canned air. I usually use my air compressor. And I got mine at Harbor Freight. There's several of them out there. And so I just recommend you just go and search. And then I'm just going to take this Snowcap, and I'm just going to draw a little stem down, just like that. And maybe a pretty little leaf. Something simple. There we go. And I am going to take my brush and kind of widen this a little bit. Okay, so the Snowcap is mostly dry. So I've decided that I started out thinking that maybe I would try the regular alcohol inks on top of this, but I went back and I looked at the alcohol pearls that I did when I did the alcohol pearls swatch. And again, I don't know if these show up very well on the camera, but they look so beautiful and so amazing. I'm thinking, well, what this flower had some of that enchanted in it, and some of this alchemy in the center. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it on top of this nice substrate. So it's a metallic-y color, so it's got the little rattle inside. I'm going to give it a good shake, and I'm going to start out with the alchemy, and I want it to look like the center of the flower. It's got like the yellow in the middle, so I'm just going to drop a drop here, and I'm going to take my canned air, and I'm just going to move it up just like this, and that is beautiful. One more drop. Look at that on top. Oh, that's just so pretty. One more. And it's going up into the black, which is kind of cool. And then I'm going to come back with the enchanted. Look how colorful that is. And then I'm going to try, little bit of the deception to give it some extra depth. And these are all the the alcohol pearls. And this is just gorgeous. On top of that snow cap. Okay, now I'm going to come back on top with a regular alcohol ink Flamingo. And so what I'm doing here is I am actually just painting with some botanical on top of this snow cap. And look how brilliant it looks with that black background. Very cool. So I would say, Ranger, these were a home run. My next wish would be if we could have like a pearl. I think that would be kind of a neat addition to the substrates, and also larger sizes. We're never happy, right? But it's very exciting. I think this turned out nicely. Close-up look. The pearl on top of the black is very cool. It just really gives it a sparkle, an iridescent kind of glow. So it adds totally another dimension to these, to working on the darker black substrate.
Thanks for watching me experiment with these exciting new products from Ranger Ink. I'm Laurie Williams, and I'd like to personally invite you, if you haven't already, to join the alcohol ink art community. We're a very interactive community of artists that work with alcohol ink. You can join us on our website at alcoholink.community and also on our Facebook group entitled Alcohol Ink Art Community. We have a team of contributors that are so generous in sharing tips and techniques. Check the descriptions and comments for a link to both. And finally, if you enjoyed this presentation, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Have a great day and happy inking.
Come learn, create, and share with us. It's a life-changing opportunity. Excite the artist within.